Show brought to you by Zazzle. Use promo code TechVShow10 and get 10% off any order over $50 from Zazzle.com.
Believe it or not, it's been about 3 years since Google acquired YouTube, and in that time, Google has managed to grow the service's user base by a bit. Now, Chad Hurley, the CEO of the company and co-founder, says that they get about 1 billion views a day. In the last 3 years, it's grown quite a bit. On the other side of the coin, YouTube was purchased for about $1.5 billion, a little bit over that. And since then, Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, has said they overpaid by about $1 billion because of market conditions. And more to the point, Google still hasn't figured out how to turn those billion views a day into a lot of money. So what's going on with YouTube, and what's the future look like? And more to the point, has it actually helped people in the last 3 years that it's been a Google company? We bring a couple technology journalists to talk about that. First off, Jason Hiner from TechRepublic. Jason, thanks for being with us.
Sure thing.
Also, we bring in Stuart Miles from Pocket-Lint. Stuart, thanks for being with us as well.
Hi.
Got a little cell phone going off here, but that's all right. So, YouTube, we all know it, we all love it, we all go to it every day. Jason, in the last 3 years, what's your sort of take of how Google or YouTube has changed or hasn't changed? And, give me your kind of general impressions of what you think of YouTube.
Yeah, well, the thing that YouTube originally brought was that it popularized web video. It's easy to forget that before YouTube, most of the time we downloaded web video. It just wasn't that popular online. There were a few experiments, even with some of the big ones in the U.S., CNN and MSNBC, but just people didn't watch video that much online. And there was the promise that eventually we would. And YouTube was really the first one to really bring video online to the masses. Since then, it's really extended that since it was bought by Google. If Google hadn't bought them, they were probably about to get run out of business because of all of the copyright problems that they have. And Google's helped them sort that out. They've signed big deals with content companies like CBS, the company that I work for, as well as Disney and others. And so they've really turned it into a legitimate content search and distribution mechanism, and that's why it is where it is today. If it weren't for Google, they might have gotten bought by somebody else, Microsoft or somebody, and maybe they'd still be around. But they were heading to some real troubled times. They still have the $1 billion lawsuit with Viacom, hanging over them. Yeah. But the bad thing that in my opinion, that Google brought us was they made Flash video the standard for web video, and Flash video HTML5, which is sort of the next iteration of HTML, sort of its whole modus operandi, in my view, is to kill Flash.
A lot of the problems.
The sooner the better, right?
Yeah, a lot of the problems with processor overhead, et cetera, et cetera. Now, YouTube, in addition to standardizing Flash, also did some really crucial things. For me, anyway, it kind of popularized the idea of embedding. They were the first company to really embrace the idea of embedding content, because before this, there had been some user-generated uploads around, but it was very difficult to embed stuff. Now, they took a huge hit in bandwidth costs because they had to embed all this content everywhere, but it's sort of their unique claim to fame. Now, Stuart, looking at YouTube nowadays, it's pretty much the same. It's a very similar experience. The player hasn't changed much. The logo hasn't changed much. The internals, they've added things like annotation, but it's still, pretty similar. What's your take on YouTube now, as it is standing today?
I think its success has always been the fact that it hasn't gone after the TV film industry in any way, shape or form. You're starting to see that slightly now, but the main success has always been user-generated content, and that content has always been snippets of sort of 2 minutes or up to 5. When was the last time you watched a YouTube video that was longer than 5 minutes? Because of that, it's easy lunchtime viral snacking, isn't it? And therefore, as you say, with the embedding functionality as well, it's meant that it's allowed to be shared very quickly, and I think that's very shows the success of it. I was watching a YouTube video the other day of it was a 4-minute long video, which is quite long, and it was the idea that these were all the most popular videos you've probably seen, and as we watched it, and we do like a video of the day feature on Pocket-Lint, but as we watched it, I thought, actually, I've seen quite a lot of these, which is just shows its success and how it's sort of got into sort of every sense of the internet.
Yeah, for sure. Before YouTube, to be clear, there was clips that would pass around via email, or like Star Wars Kid, for example. He was pre-YouTube. He was just some video clip that people were passing around. So YouTube kind of took that element of watching the monkey sniff its butt or whatever, and watching it get kicked in the crotch and all those different
I mean, I
things.
think
And popularized it.
Yeah,
It made
exactly.
everybody want to watch stupid stuff.
Exactly.
I
Well,
think in addition to that, you also have to realize that, since YouTube was bought, broadband speeds have increased dramatically over the last 3 years,
Sure.
in the US and the UK. Sort of, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, majority of sites were building. It's like, oh, we couldn't put too many pictures on this site because, we don't want to slow down the experience. Now it's like, well, where else can we shove some video?
Yeah, exactly. Well, as a video producer, I mean, this is the thing that I like to do. And I remember, I had a site called DV Guru at the time, and our big constant debate was, how do we actually get our video out to people? And we saw a lot of things like Flash video really took a hold. H.264 in Flash was huge for us. I mean, once you could have something that didn't look like trash necessarily, because you'll recall that YouTube early clips really kind of...
They were bad.
They used a really bad codec, and it just didn't look so good. So, there's been a lot of advancements since then that have really helped out. I mean, now, Jason, obviously, like, I have my ideas of where the future of web video is going, and, I believe it's TechV, let's be honest. But, no, what do you think the future of web video looks like as related to YouTube?
Well, I think embedding is here to stay. As a matter of fact, I think embedding you're going to see more and more, and also maybe some easier forms of embedding where you don't have to do all of the kind of HTML magic that you have to do now. I think that's coming. Maybe even some there may even be jump offs to kind of longer shows, or like snippets of shows where you can look at the first 5 minutes of something on YouTube or on other places that you can sort of embed in blogs, and then you can go and then watch buy the whole episode and immediately download it through iTunes or Amazon Unbox or some other way.
And Google's been trying to integrate some of this other, ever since Hulu kind of came around, they do have some of this show functionality. Disney specifically has some show functionality on YouTube, but it's still not that like built-out experience. I think it's a good observation that this sort of like, now they actually have to make money, right? Like they have to actually like, pay the bills, as it were. Stuart, we're running out of
content. Sorry, go ahead.
Stuart, running out of time. Really quick, what's your take on the future of YouTube and web video in general?
I think it has to be careful because services like Hulu, the iPlayer from the BBC, there's a lot of video on demand services which are clearly demanding and sort of, taking over the sort of longer sort of viewing time, and therefore it has to be careful that it doesn't just become this irrelevant sort of fun 5 minutes of interest sort of site, which has its place, don't get me wrong, but I think if it needs to grow up, it really needs to sort of have a look at how it can, build that visitor duration for longer content and be successful while still appealing to the masses.
No, exactly. I mean, go ahead, Jason.
I'm sorry, Randall. The other thing that we shouldn't leave out is that the quality is going to continue to improve. They already have the high quality part, and then distribution to interactive TV. You're already seeing that. This holiday season in the U.S., one of the things that's hot are these TVs with Yahoo widgets, and they have their own Ethernet port connected to the internet. The distribution onto TV is what's going to be the big thing for web video and YouTube over the next 2 to 3 years.
It'll be interesting to see for sure. I mean, I think that the last thing YouTube needs to be is America's Funniest Home Videos, right? I mean, it's hilarious to watch, someone get kicked in the crotch and whatever. But yeah, we really are gonna have to see it grow up, and whether that is through TV distribution or content deals or whatever, I think it would do Google some good to actually invest some time in thinking about the content strategy rather than just the technology. Guys, we're gonna leave it there. Jason Hiner from TechRepublic, thanks for being on the show, man. We really appreciate it. Also, Stuart Miles from Pocket-Lint, thanks for being on the show as well. I'm Randall Bennett. Don't forget, you can catch us on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're lots of those places. Plus, we want to thank our sponsor, GoToMeeting, who's hooking up TechV viewers with 30 days for free if you go to gotomeeting.com/techpodcasts. And we really appreciate them sponsoring the show. See you later.